Wars is part of the Rippin Podcast Network. In this episode of Cardboard Wars, we explore the legend of Bo Jackson, an athlete of unparalleled talent. Hosts Ben Rippin, Kevin Rips, and Jake M46Rippin talk about Bo's rise from dominating the fields of baseball and football to his iconic status in sports card history. Discover the story behind Bo's iconic 1990 scorecard and his enduring influence on sports culture. Learn how Bo Jackson continues to inspire generations both on and off the field. We hope you enjoy this episode of Cardboard Wars.
It's November 30th, 1962. We're in Alabama. Vincent Edward Jackson, the 8th of 10 children, born dirt poor, but he's fast as lightning. He's stronger than every kid around him. His mom nicknamed him Boar Hog because he was wild and tough. It stuck. People from that point forward just referred to him as Bo.
And Bo wasn't just tough. He was gifted. In high school, he hit over 20 homers in just 25 games. With a football, he rushed for over 1,000 yards as a senior. And on the track, he won 2 state titles in the decathlon. By the way, he skipped his final events and still won the decathlon by more than 200 points.
Wow.
That's the most Bo thing I've ever heard, by the way.
Yeah. In fact, Kevin, he once said, when it comes down to it, I just love competing. That's who he was. Baseball, football, track. It didn't matter. He wanted to beat you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cardboard Wars. Today, we're talking about Bo Jackson. I go by Ben Rippin online. You can find me on Instagram or visit rippin.com to find any of the co-hosts and follow any of our future and past episodes.
I'm Kevin. I go by Kevin Rips online. You can find me on Instagram, and that's probably the only place you want to find me if we're being real honest.
My name's Jake, and I go by M46Rippin on Instagram. That's the only place you're going to find me.
When you think of Bo Jackson, and if you're as old as me, you think about one particular card, not his rookie card, but it's an important card that all of us coveted in 1990. But in order to talk about that card, you have to understand the company that built it. It's 1970. Optigraphics Incorporated, which was founded in Grand Prairie, Texas, was specializing in making multiple image printing. They called it lenticular. This optographic lenticular motion cards were being sold in convenience stores, on cereal box promotions. In 1985, Sportflix name was trademarked. Optographics began producing these special cards under the Sportflix branding. Then in 1986, Optographics issues Sportflix baseball cards as one of its earlier forays into cards tied more closely to the sports collecting market.
You think about the 1980s, Ben. The sports card market was a battlefield. We've talked about that a number of times. Topps at that point already had nostalgia. You had Fleer and Donruss that were just absolutely fighting for market share. The end of the 80s, Upper Deck arrives with these premium cards. And Scores really going, how are we going to define ourselves? You know, they're this optographics company that says we want a piece of the baseball card market, and we've got to find a way to do it.
So Score was actually born out of the company called Optographics. Optographics made their novelty 3D sport flick cards starting in 1986. It was fun, a little bit of a niche. The real gamble came with the 1988 Score baseball set. Full color photos on both sides, sharp printing, affordable packs you could find at hobby shops or any of the big box stores. That first set was a game changer. Score didn't have Topps nostalgia or a huge budget, so they leaned into accessibility. Packs were 99 cents, sometimes 50 cents at stores like the Kmart. They flooded hobby shops, supermarkets, and even gas stations.
Yeah, man. And with everything being so competitive, they had to have something different. And it was their photography. And the kids noticed. They hired great photographers to capture dynamic images, players in mid swing, diving catches, just pure action. And those lenticular inserts, the 1989 All Star cards with flipping images, were literally mind blowing for kids.
Exactly. By 1989, they added football cards. By 1990, their baseball set had exploded. 792 cards. Nolan Ryan, the Frank Thomas rookie, and of course, the card we're here to talk about today, fellas, number 697, Bo Knows, Mr. Bo Jackson. Score was suddenly a real contender.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
And it's like little kids chasing a grown man.
It's the longest run in Raider history.
I also remember the 1989 football set, Kevin, which was the home of which player?
Barry Sanders, my friend.
The Barry Sanders rookie card, one of my favorite 1990s football cards or 1980s football cards for sure. But for Score, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Behind the scenes, a little bit of drama was brewing. John Flavin and Ann Blank, once partners in business and life, split in 1992. Their divorce wasn't just personal, it actually split the company. John kept Scoreboard Inc., doubling down on sports cards, while Ann took her vision to start cards distribution, focusing on non-sports cards like the Muppets and even a set after Terminator. Under John's lead, Scoreboard went all in. They used offset photography for really crisp colors. They used thin stock to keep costs low. Their 1990 baseball set had 792 individual cards with big stars like Nolan Ryan, Frank Thomas, and of course, Bo Jackson.
That's high. He just may have missed it. I don't know. Bo Jackson back, leaps, and he makes the catch.
As you mentioned, changes were coming. In the 90s, the company actually, I think, Ben, I don't know this for sure. I think this was their response to Upper Deck because everybody in the industry felt like they had to respond to Upper Deck. And so they felt like they're going from this affordable product to they roll out a premium product. I don't know if you remember those Pinnacle cards. 1991, they roll out the first Pinnacle cards in football. And then in 92, it's baseball. And they were definitely cool-looking cards. But they were so far in. They decided to go so far in on Pinnacle that by 94, the corporate identity itself became known as Pinnacle Brands. And Pinnacle started expanding aggressively. They bought action-packed, like I love those cards. You can feel them on the front. They're all bumpy. And they even bought Donruss. Suddenly, they own brands across baseball, football, hockey.
But the junk wax crash it hard. Overproduction, the baseball strike, too many sets flooding the market. In fact, I still remember getting a Fleer set that's full set, and it's worth nothing now because there's so many of them made. And in 1998, Pinnacle filed for bankruptcy, and their assets were auctioned off for under $10 million to Playoff Inc.
Still, though, Score lived on. It resurfaced as an entry-level football brand in the 2000s, and today it's thought of fondly as the gateway set for many young collectors who are looking for affordable cards to purchase. And forever tied for people like Kevin, Jake, and myself as the creator of one of the most important cards of the 90s, the Bo Jackson card. But you can't talk about the Bo Jackson card until you understand Bo Jackson himself. In 1982, Bo Jackson arrives at Auburn University. He's a little raw, but he's explosive. As a freshman, he averages 6.4 yards per carry and becomes truly an instant star.
His numbers are insane. By the time he's done in Auburn, Bo's rushed for over 4,500 yards, 45 touchdowns. It's still among some of the best totals ever in SEC history. He averaged it was 6.6 yards per carry through his career. In 85, he wins the Heisman Trophy, rushing for 1,786 yards that year and 17 touchdowns.
And Kevin, the craziest part about this is Bo almost didn't play football. He said, baseball is what I was born to play. Football just came naturally. Think about that. All those stats. He won the Heisman doing what he considered his second sport. It's insane.
Pat Dye, Auburn's head coach, put it simply. He's the best pure athlete that he had ever seen, period. 1986, Bo shocks the NFL. He refused to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who drafted him first overall, after they cost him his baseball eligibility by arranging an illegal visit. Instead, Bo ends up signing with the Kansas City Royals.
And in 87, his first full Major League Baseball season, he hits 235, 22 home runs, 53 RBIs, 10 stolen bases in just 116 games. But 1989, he explodes, 32 home runs, 105 RBIs, 26 stolen bases. He's become an all-star now.
In that all-star game, July 11th, 1989, Anaheim, California, Bo leads off, first swing gone, 450 feet, center field. Vince Scully says, the line will never forget. Bo Jackson, say hello.
And as Bo Jackson comes up, we talked about Ozzie Smith and you wearing a Cardinal uniform.
I don't know if there's ever been anyone doing it.
Hey. He's remarkable, and look at that one. Bo Jackson says hello. Woo. And Rick Russell is greeted on the first pitch to Bo Jackson. He almost hit it out of state.
He doesn't stop there. He steals a base. He makes a catch that looks impossible. Bo did all of the things that looked impossible to human beings. He's named the All-Star MVP. He's got career baseball totals of 141 home runs, 415 RBIs, 82 stolen bases in only 694 games.
Yeah, and George Brett, a legend in his own, he said, I played with a lot of great athletes, but nobody ever had the tools Bo Jackson had. And manager Tony La Russa agreed. There's no one like Bo. He's the fastest, the strongest, and the most natural athlete I'd ever been around.
But Bo wasn't finished. In 1987, he signs with the Los Angeles Raiders part-time. Just imagine a full-time MLB outfielder and a part-time NFL running back.
It's crazy. His rookie year, It's like not even a half a year, just 7 games. He runs for 554 yards on 81 carries. By the way, that's close to 7 yards per carry. And then November 30th, 1987, Monday Night Football against Seattle, Bo rushes for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, including that 91-yard score where he outruns the entire defense. I remember as a little kid watching that game live, and it was like, is he going to stop running? He just kept going.
He was gone. And of course, Kevin, I mean, the moment everyone remembers the run over Brian Bosworth at the goal line. Bosworth actually later said, people remember me for one play, the play Bo ran over me. That's how powerful he was.
And if you're in Seattle, you can't wait till he leaves. 3rd and 1 from the 2. Here's Bo. And here goes Bo for the touchdown. He and Bosworth one-on-one, and Jackson just shoves him into the end zone. That's the matchup you like to see. If you're Seattle, Bo Jackson with the ball, Brian Bosworth. Here's Bo Jackson. He's going to go here. Here's Brian Bosworth. They're going to meet on the 2-yard line and end up in the end zone. Watch the Boz. He plays it perfectly, flows to the football, meets Bo Jackson at the 2. Sorry, 220 beats 240 easily.
I remember Brian Bosworth because of his haircut.
Yeah.
And I think he handed out a bunch of T-shirts in front of the stadium in Seattle. I think so. But even though a Washingtonian born and raised, my $39 puffy parka was a Raiders jacket. From 1987 to 1990, Bo plays 38 NFL games. Career totals, 2,782 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry on average. That average is higher than Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton. Bo was just that efficient.
Marcus Allen, another great running back, by the way, and was also Bo's backfield partner there with the Raiders. He said about Bo, he said, Bo could do everything. He could outrun you. He could run you over. And if you got in his way, you were going down.
In 1989, Nike launches one of their most famous campaigns, the Bo Knows campaign.
Bo knows baseball. Bo knows football. Bo knows basketball, too. Bo knows tennis?
Bo knows running.
No.
Bo knows cycling.
Bo knows weights.
Bo, you don't know diddly.
A cultural moment, Bo playing baseball, football, basketball, hockey, tennis, and even guitar. The slogan becomes a part of America and a part of most of our childhoods if you're listening to this podcast.
Man, I remember that slogan well, Ben. In fact, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, said, Bo knows. That's not just a slogan. That's the truth. He says he could have played in the NBA too if he wanted. And I think that's a huge compliment coming from someone like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, guys, that campaign just cements Bo as he's no longer just an athlete. He's a household name. Everybody in America knows his name. He's a crossover. He's a bona fide star. His jerseys, his shoes, his cards, everyone's buying those things because everybody wanted to be like Bo.
Unfortunately, January 13th, 1991, in a game, the Raiders versus the Bengals, in the AFC divisional playoff, Bo breaks free for a 34-yard run. At the end of the play, his hip dislocates, and it's what looks like potentially the end of his NFL career.
And Walker, as he made the tackle, had only the one leg to grab, and apparently Bo Jackson, shaken up a bit, has not gotten to his feet as yet. That was a 34-yard run by Jackson, who does not appear to be seriously injured and gets a big hand from this crowd. What a player. And he gets a big 34-yarder here on the opening series of the second half. Now the question will be, will Bo return this week? O.J. Simpson will try to do some eavesdropping, and we'll get a report.
Yeah, and it was. I remember watching that as well live and thinking, like, it didn't even look that bad. It just looked like a tackle. As they showed all the replays, you could see it was worse than that. Doctors discover his hip bone is deteriorating, basically. So while he got hurt on that play, it turns out he had bigger problems in his hips. He never played in the NFL again. And I'll say it again. We talked about his stats earlier, but 2,782 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry in his short NFL career.
Yeah. And, Kevin, something like that, I mean, most people's reaction is defeat. I mean, especially when it's that ending your career. But his reaction, he said, set your goals high and don't stop till you get there. He doesn't quit. In 1993 with the White Sox, his first at-bat after surgery, he hit a home run, hit a bomb.
That ball hit deep to right field. Tarnover goes back, looks up. You can't put it on the board. Yes! Bo Jackson, in his first at-bat in the 93 season. Homers to right field, and what a moment this is for that man.
If you know any of the details of Bo Jackson's history of recovery, you would know somebody else that Kevin and I know personally. And this gentleman had multiple black belts and is one of the first competing athletes to go through a double hip replacement. So when Bo was actually in recovery, he searched out the one man in history that he thought could help him recover and get back to becoming a professional athlete. And he's one of the greatest humans that I've ever met. His name is Mac Newton, who passed away last year. And if you want to get a little glimpse into Mac, look up the No Days Off podcast. There's a 1-hour interview of Mac Newton being interviewed by that host. He is an amazing human. And Mac worked with Bo, along with many other professional athletes, to get back into the type of shape that is required to compete professionally. And in fact, Bo played 3 more years in the MLB. His final totals, he had a 250 average, 141 home runs, 415 RBIs, 82 steals, all while never focusing on baseball full time. Eventually, in 1994, Bo Jackson retires. His careers are cut short, but his impact to football, baseball, to America, and to the hobby and us nerdy card collectors, truly permanent.
Tim Kirkjian. Tim, by the way, I hope I said your name correctly. He said Bo could hit a ball 500 feet, throw out a runner at the plate from the warning track, and run over an all-pro linebacker, all in the same year. By the way, Tim doesn't have like a crystal ball or anything. He didn't make that up. That Bo actually did those things. He's that great of an athlete.
Yeah, and Bob Costas, who I actually met in person in Pittsburgh, summed it up. He said, Bo Jackson is the greatest pure athlete we've ever seen.
Bo once said, I don't care if I'm remembered as a football player or a baseball player as long as I'm remembered as a good person.
In the end, Bo's career was a lightning bolt. Short, brilliant, unforgettable. In fact, guys, when you look at his career numbers and just the number of seasons he played, or rather, I should say didn't play, I think that Bo's talent just transcended that. I don't think anybody really thinks of him as not playing that long because he's thought of as maybe the greatest athlete ever, at least of our lifetimes. And so I think we all recognize that he's just absolutely the guy of guys. I mean, he's an all-star, the equivalent of an all-star in both Major League Baseball and in the NFL. I mean, who does that?
Yeah, that's insane, Kevin. I mean, to have that in both sports. And I mean, if you ask people, ask fans, I mean, everybody still knows the legend still lives. Bo knows.
Bo Jackson's professional playing ended in 1994, like we said, but Bo didn't ever stop competing. He just changed the arena.
Yeah, that's right. He built businesses. He co-founded Bo Jackson's Elite Sports, the state-of-the-art training facilities outside of Chicago that became known as the, quote, Bo Dome. But Bo also leaned into another passion, collectibles.
Yeah, in fact, I actually bought several packs of his cards and was watching people play this game at the Nationals. He got into the trading card world. He launched a product called Battle Arena, and it was designed as a head-to-head style collectible. So competition, and just like on the field, the idea was simple: pit greats against greats and each other and see who comes out on top.
This Battle Arena product, which you should all check out and buy some. It's super fun to open as fellow nerds or with your kids. It also has a very exclusive Caitlin Clark card in there. So if you happen to track one of those down, let me know. I'm probably a buyer. Here's what I know. Here's what Bo said about it. That he wanted to give kids a way to compete with their heroes on cards the same way that I competed on the field. And this new product blends his legend with a booming hobby industry that we're all living today.
Which makes sense. Bo's got iconic cards, everything from his 1986 Topps Traded Rookie to the card we're talking about today, which again is the card we're going to talk about. Bo, the 1990 score. Bo knows crossover card where he's got the shoulder pads with the bat across his shoulders. The man was an icon, a card icon even. And so launching his own products, just another way of saying Bo knows collecting too.
Yeah, and just like everything else Bo touched, Battle Arena became another chapter in the myth. In fact, they're launching another portion of that series, the Tecmo Bowl portion, which is interesting. I saw that at the show. And it wasn't just about remembering him, it's about playing with Bo, competing with a legend.
You know, his history and his impact it's more than just a couple of stats or highlights. It's about his impact on Auburn, winning the Heisman Trophy, his impact on Kansas City, on the Raiders. It's his experience and time with Nike, his newest companies and products, Battle Arena, and it's about giving back to the next generation. I want to transition to talking about the card. This card's important for a lot of reasons. One, it's an iconic card. Two, it's accessible to the vast majority of us. You can still find it in packs. You can buy boxes of these cards at a semi-affordable rate. You're going to end up with a couple of those cards from a single box on average, has been my experience. Kevin, tell me the actual card number and what you see on the card that makes it so unique.
I mean, it's card 6697. And it's that look. It's Bo I feel weird saying this about another man, if I'm being honest, but he's shirtless, but he's got shoulder pads on. He's got the bat. He's got his baseball bat. He's got football shoulder pads on, and then a baseball bat across his shoulders with his hands up on it, just looking like I rule the world. And I mean, the guy did. He ruled the sporting world.
It was in black and white.
Yeah.
It was a unique look and feel. You knew when you hit it in a pack, it was something different. And if you look at the most expensive 1990 score Bo Jackson number 697 card sold, it's still only about $5,000, and that one had a signature on it. But it's really, really rare to find a Bo Jackson 1990 scorecard with a signature. And there's a reason, right, Kevin?
Yeah. So the photographer that took that picture, his name was Richard Noble, and he took the picture. It was supposed to just be for score for the card. And what happened is Nike used that exact image in that Bo Knows campaign that we talked about earlier, but they didn't get Richard's permission. And so, again, he only took this picture for score. Nike uses it somehow. There's a lawsuit. Now, we don't know exactly what happened. We just know it was over copyright infringement. There was a settlement thought to be in the mid six-figure range, but again, we don't actually know the final dollar amount that Nike and Richard Noble settled for. But what we do know is that Bo won't sign that card. In fact, PSA just did a signing, like you could mail items to PSA and they would have Bo sign it. That is on the list of things he will not sign. And Bo's didn't get, tangled up in that at all. It was just sort of that taint, if you will, from the whole lawsuit. He just didn't want to be a part of it at all. So he stays clear of that.
PSA 10 unsigned card sold in March 2025 for $789. Some of you may know, if you follow me on the Instagrams, at Ben Rippin with a G at the end. I like to collect PSA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of my favorite cards. We call that kind of collecting the rainbow. It's a version of a rainbow in sports card collecting. This is one of those cards that you can do over time and not be out an enormous amount of money. When you look at card 697, there's been 25,155 cards submitted just to PSA, not counting any of the other graded cards. There is only 14 with a PSA 1, 18 with a 2, 45 with a 3, 4 PSA 4, 186, 618 at a 5, 1,539 at a 6, 2,104 at a 7, 5,924 with an 8, 10,484 with a 9, and 4,222 with a 10. You see the amount printed and the amount graded. That's why the values kind of stay low. But this, if you're going to collect cards and you want to get some of the most impactful cards in history, you're going to collect this card in whatever grade that you can find. When I think of Bo Jackson, I know what I feel about him, but help me out, Jake. What are some things that other people have said about Bo Jackson over time that stand out to you?
Back in high school, his coach and his teammates really talked about his defensive coverage. And they said, Bo, nothing ever got behind him. And then also, I liked what when Jordan, Michael Jordan thought that was part of Bo's magic. Neither of us was very easily amazed, yet he was amazed with Bo Jackson. So it was kind of cool to see the different images and things people have to say about him.
Ted Williams said that Bo Jackson had the kind of raw power that you just don't teach. If he had focused only on baseball, he might have been one of the all-time greats. Kevin, any stand out to you?
Absolutely. My favorite quote about Bo is Bo knows this and Bo knows that, but Bo don't know jack because Bo can't rap. Here's the thing. Bo was such a big deal. He was getting what's now called being name-checked in rap songs. That was, by the way, the legendary Scenario by A Tribe Called Quest. Name-checking Bo Jackson in their massive hit Scenario. But that's how big of a star he was even back then, before being name-checked was a deal.
As we think about Bo, he stands out to me as a father and an athlete and a pretty decent human. A lot of people don't know that after Bo retired, after the lights went out, so to speak, that Bo made a conscious decision to live quietly, to focus on his wife and his kids, and to step out of the limelight. And I really respect that. And Bo has been known to go on hunting trips and fishing trips and spend times outdoors and raise money for charity. Just that type of guy. In fact, he was quoted saying, "First and foremost, I'm a husband and a father. Everything else is secondary." He, like we said earlier, just wanted to be remembered as a good person. And he wanted to be there for his kids. Now, I imagine as his kids get older, he has more time to go chase ventures like Battle Arena. And you'll see him at events like we did in Chicago at Nationals. And you could see him in almost every card show you go to as you walk by his rookie card in football or his rookie card in baseball or this very special scorecard. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cardboard Wars, joined today by Jake, Kevin, and myself, Ben. We hope that you love the podcast. Do us a favor. It would mean the world to us if you took the time to write a review and rate us. This podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast, anywhere out there. And it would mean 10 times as much if you sent this podcast and texted it to a friend, another fellow nerd or a collector or somebody that just loves sports and learning about the history of cards, the companies that made them, and the players that all of us look up to still today. Thank you all for being a part of Cardboard Wars.
Thanks for listening to Cardboard Wars on the Rippin Podcast Network. Don't forget to leave a rating and review. Check out rippin.com to get connected to what we have coming up, and find us on Instagram at Ben Ripping or at Kevin Rips. Let us know what you would like to hear about on a future episode of Cardboard Wars. Until next time, keep rippin'.